Jeff Davis. Going to do the video today on the overhead on this thermal team. Already took the top plate off, so now we got visual inspection of the valves. So the first thing you want to do is go through, visually inspect everything. Make sure nothing's damaged, nothing's cracked, nothing's bent up in here. Because if you got any of that, then you got a lot worse problem than just trying to do your overhead. Attached to the front, we already got our socket with our breaker bar, so we can rotate and do it properly, so we can do all the cylinders. All right, so to do this, I'll loosen this up, and I'm gonna grab my 6/1000s because this is my intake, this is my exhaust. My exhaust is all the way down, so that means I can be doing my intake right now. And you can see there's a lot of play in there right now. That's not what I want. I want it to be nice and snug, where when I pull on it, it's got a little bit of tension. To each person is going to be a little bit different, but I want enough tension that it feels good to myself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my screwdriver, my flathead, make sure that nut is loosened off enough, and tighten down my valve to where I have the proper amount of play that I want in there, the proper drag on the feeler gauge, which right there feels good to me. Now leave your feeler gauge in place. You want to use both at the same time, because if not, then it's going to spin. Before I take it off, see it loosened up just a little bit on me. There we go. All right, so now I'm at the tension I want. So I'm done with that cylinder. I'm gonna rotate the engine where the exhaust valve goes all the way down, and I have play in my exhaust valve. Hopefully that stays. I'm gonna check the play in this. I got my 9/1000s, I have way too much play in there again. Make sure that nut is backed off far enough. As you go to tighten that sucker down, snug just that you want. If that's tightened down, you're not going to get there. Alright, so that's the snugness I want right there. So I'm going to do the same thing I did before. And hopefully this time it doesn't spin on me, and it'll stay in place while I tighten it down. And I'm still there, so I'm good. Alright, so I got the first cylinder done, or number 3 done. Now what you're checking for here when you're doing this, you're looking to watch the exhaust valve go all the way down. Once it's all the way compressed, then you'll be able to do your intake. Your intake will have that play in it, and that's what you want to be able to do your valve lash. All right, so I check it first with my feeler gauge. Once again, way too much play in there. Move the adjuster down. right to where I want it. Enough drag. That's about perfect right there. Tighten the adjuster screw nut down. Right before I remove all that, I check my play again, and it's too tight. You want it to just be snug. Not where you got to pull on it too much, or not where it's too loose. So right about there. There we go. And if you have to keep going with it over and over again, you know, doing the same one, that's completely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, make sure it's at the right angle and the right feel. Otherwise, your engine's not going to fire properly. All right, now I'm watching my intake go all the way down. Before it starts to rise, and then back it off. As soon as it started to rise up a little bit, I knew it was at the bottom, so I just did that slight back turn, and I got to where I wanted it to be at. Got my 9/1000ths again, and that's actually pretty close the way it is right now. Got the snugness I want. I'm going to do the same process all over again. Recheck. I'm still good. Now number 2's done. And the same process will take place if you're using a bigger engine. You got a Jake brake. Now it would be pretty damn funny if this thermal had a Jake brake, but it does not. Now my intake is loose. Grab my 6/1000. That one's way out of whack. This must have been the engine that Ray did the first time, so that explains why it's out of whack. Alright. So I got my tension. Once again, before I move on, double check it. Now we're going to move on to the final one, move on to the exhaust. All right. And that one's way out of. I got the tension I want here. Now all of these should be torqued down to specs. All these should be torqued down. And you can look that up for your engine, the engine that you're working on. You can look that up on Pro Demand, in your owner's manual, wherever the case may be. But that's basically doing an overhead. And that's just on 3 cylinders. After you're done, you can go back through, rotate the engine, and go back through and recheck all of them again. Hopefully you did it right the first time, but obviously double checking your work is obviously a good thing. So you can go back through, rotate the engine all over again. I will do that after I get off camera here, but look up the specs first on what you need to be set at, and make sure you're double checking everything as you're going along. Double checking your spacing, double checking all the gears in here and everything else. Make sure nothing's broken right off the bat, because obviously you're not going to get the proper set if a push rod is bent or something else. So pull those out, check those first before you start doing your overhead. Jeff Davis, thanks for your time.